Um, Before I go any further, my child, let me first introduce my distinguished guest to you. I got Mr. Adam Ibrahim. He's a teacher and journalist and also human rights activist. We have got Mr. Muhammad Ahmad. He is human rights activist as well. Thank you very much for having you on the show. Um, today we need to discuss about the current political scenes in Sudan, especially what is really, ongoing in the middle of the politics in Sudan. Many Sudanese people, they are really very excited and, they are very ambitious. They are waiting, the peace process is going to be done by the 3rd of August 2020. Um, there is a peace process, was took place in the between the Sudanese government and the Sudan Revolutionary Front, especially the Darfur and the groups and the Darfur and the groups and the the army groups between. They signed the seventh protocol. That sign was very comprehensive agreement was took place on Monday. Sorry, on Saturday, and there is a final peace agreement is going to be done on the 31st of August, which is 2020. Today, our topic we need to concentrate around the peace issue and the security arrangement between the movement and all the movement under the umbrella of the Sudan Revolutionary Front and the government side as well. And also, on the other hand, we need to talk about the refugees and displaced persons in Sudan. So lovely to have you both on the show. Let me present. There is some important point to my participant and all the host participants, and also we encourage you, try to follow this weekly program, which is English language. We are talking about the current situation in Sudan, and also we used to bring, many guests from different aspects. So if you're interested to be a part of this movement, try to give us a shout, or you can contact the host team or myself. We are more than ready to welcome everybody. And there is initially signed, there is a peace process was being signed in Juba, but on Monday, all the Swedish people, they are very happy to see what is really going to be done. Let me start with Mr. Adam Ibrahim. Mr. Adam Ibrahim, you asked as a teacher and as a national speaker, and also you as a journalist. I think you're observing what is really going on in the middle of the politics, and we have seen yesterday between the Sudan Revolutionary Front and all the other organizations as well under the umbrella of the Revolutionary Front. They signed sign of draft with the recent transitional government. Many people they are waiting for a long period of time in order to be able to see at least some happy days in Sudan, because the Sudanese people they were waiting for this peace for a very long period of time. So do you think that this peace agreement is going to finalize everything in Sudan?
Thank you, Al-Hoosh channel, and thank you, dear brother, Mr. Ibrahim. I'm really very pleased to be here with you and participating. I do really appreciate your efforts as a channel that is doing a great work for the mental revolutions and bringing the opinions closer. Actually, what took place as a peace signing agreement, I'm really very optimistic, and really I can't have how I felt about this, because after the revolution, the Sudanese revolution and the ousted regime and the change which took place, people, they were only concerned about because this is a very fundamental thing, a step that needs to be taken in order the change which took place is to be completed. for a very long period of time, people were in war. So that war, as far as we can see, has achieved nothing except the suffering of the Sudanese people themselves, because the resources were being wasted and even so many lives were taken. So the peace which was signed recently is really a very great step. I'm very optimistic and hopeful, because what people lost from time and resources on war, now there is no enough time to be wasted anymore. So it is time for people to come together and work together for the sake of, and I'm really very happy, as I said earlier, and deeply believe that people from the depths of their own hearts, they were working for such steps to be taken. So definitely that is going to make a big change, because all people, they will come together and work for the sake of Sudan, and at least those refugees and displaced people, now they will be no longer afraid and frightened that about their own security and about their own life. They will go back to their normal life. And this is the only thing that we were hoping since a long time ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, I'm very glad to have your opinion on both, Mr. Adam, but I'm going to go to Mr. Muhammad as well. I will, ask him the same question, and then I can see his opinion. Muhammad, right now, as we can see, and a lot of Sudanese people, they can see as well, the initial signing was, attended by the South Sudanese mediation, and also, there is many neighboring countries, which is Chad representative, and also Arab Emirates representative, and also Egyptian, also is a part of this great participation. So do you think that this peace process that was, as a draft sign of the peace process, and also after, on Monday is going to be, this is the final, comprehensive peace agreement will be signed. Do you think that this is going to achieve a peace in Sudan, and what is your opinion around this, Muhammad?
Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. I would like to greet all Sudanese people, and then really I'm very pleased to hear about this good news from Al-Juba, capital city of South Sudan, which is been long. There's people between. There's agreement process between Sudan government or Sudan transition government and the Sudanese rebel groups, which is taking longer. It's nearly now 9 months. But also, I think the peace process will gonna take place on Monday. So this one could be final, or the last things which can be do it. Also, the refugees also in the camp waiting and peace agreement, which is really more than 1.5 million people during after 20 years of conflict. The camps has become like a city, and the 2 million people across region have been displaced. Attention may have shifted, but the memories of the conflicts are still in the camps. They are new government. The forces are growing up. Those the new generation who's growing up in the camp. Some of those children also have not studied yet or not educated. Some of them even is not going to class. So some of them, so all those people, they're just waiting for the peace agreement. They want to go back to the where the areas they come. So I think the peace agreement, if they complete on Monday, maybe could be successfully, and they can be changed, and everything will be fine. Africa may be the full of the civilian government. That if you have the civilian government, does not mean you are does mean you successful or you resolve your problem. But also the people, all the Sudanese people, they have to unite together, and then they have to the push the peace agreement to
Mr.
be.
Muhammad, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but let me ask you, what was the major, concentration in terms of the seven protocols that was being signed yesterday?
That's protocol be signing just this, I think, for the how they're gonna share the resources and in Sudan, and how the Sudan will be in next for a couple of years, and then the peace agreement between robots groups in Sudan is like represented as SLA and the Sudan Jam and many. So this one I think could give more power to carry on the transition government to carry out his work, and then it can sort its money problem.
Lovely to have your opinion as well, Mr. Muhammad. Mr. Adam, I have got some statement. It's written, within the South Sudanese mediation and also all the other, representative, which is Arab Emirates and Egypt and, Chad and etc. And this, says that the signing of a seven protocol was concentrated on a land ownership and also transitional justice, and also, there is some, preparation and also development on all different sectors. For instance, like livestock and also agriculture, and people they are talking about these things. So after the peace process being signed, so the Sudan must put an end to this chapter, and also they need, they must open the new chapter in order to bring all the people on board, and also they can transform the country into the next level. So Adam, throughout, observing the scenes and also the situation in Sudan, and the Sudanese people right now, they are left beyond the, many crises, and our country is still, sanction not lift, from it. And in the meantime, the Sudan Bank as well is, fully controlled by the army. Is as we have, seen, there is a very great, declaration within the Sudan Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok, who was announced that 80% of the 80% of the Sudanese economy is still, occupied by the army. And so, how do we, bring these, resources to the Sudanese people? Because those resources is not for the army, institution. This is for the Sudanese people. Because when we see the Sudanese people today, they are struggling to live a life, and things are really going very negative way, and desperately the Sudanese people, they need a change. What do you think, in terms of this statement?
Actually, in a matter of the land, definitely people want the signing of the agreement, peace agreement. People, they will try to do their best. Even the leaders, you see that they can forget all the aggressions and the hostilities and come together as one nation and partners. You see, so the land is really a very big space, and definitely people, they can come to an agreement where they can settle. So this is not a big problem at all, because as long people accept each other and really they have inner preparation and they have very good will, definitely they will come to an agreement, a very peaceful agreement, how they can settle on their own land. So about the companies and the armies and so on, so before all those companies, even the income of those companies, definitely people were using that profit in total. So now there will be no more. So where this money, it will be definitely is going to be spent on development. You see, so this is a new chapter where even this army is the Sudanese army. You see, so before, even if there were lots of companies, all those any revenue that will come, it was only for war. You see, as a budget. But now this budget is enough that it could go for infrastructure, where people, they can use it to do like hospitals, they can do like roads, they can do like, any public facilities. You see, so it's not a big problem at all.
Mr. Adam, I'm sorry to interrupt you once again, but here is the thing. So quite often, we used to hear a lot of, like very great speeches from the government officials. But when we see the reality, we are not going to see any change or any progress, because the Sudanese citizen, until today, people they are striving, people they are striving to live a life like any other nation on earth. But when we come to see the fact, things are really different, because government leaders or government officials making a lot of promise, but none of those promise being implemented on the ground.
Actually, that was the old version. But now, after the revolution and the change that took place in Sudan, people are shifting to a term of democracy, where anybody will be held accountable about whatever statement that he will say, because people are observing. And now the power is in the hands of the people. You see? So definitely people are wise enough in order to observe, in order to to put the responsibility on those people whom they will say anything and they will not implement it. But previously there were so many things that are preventing now, like a positive change took place, where people, they will go forward in order to walk the talk. In order to walk the talk.
All right.
That is why it is possible, my dear, that everything people, they will say, they will put it into action. And I'm very optimistic about that. Thank you.
That's really amazing. That's really amazing opinion. Mr. Muhammad, as you have stated within your statement, you say that the initial signing that took place on Friday, the rebel groups and the current transitional government, they were agreed on the justice the transitional justice. It means that all the perpetrator and all the war criminals must be handed over to the ICC, and also in the meantime they need to talk about the also about the democracy in our country in order to be able to the next level. We don't want to back again into this square. So, Muhammad, can you please tell us a little bit about what was the major concentration? I mean, like the agreement, especially in terms of the security arrangement. So there is an agreement between the Darfurian Darfurian rebel groups and the current transitional government. They need to form the joint army. Their main their main task or their main duty, they need to protect the country and they protect the Sudanese civilian. So how that is going to be happening? Because there is a lot of confusion. So when these things always being written on the paper, when we come in the facts or in the reality, we are not going to see those things who have been signed within the paper or within any document. It's not going to be happening on the playground, or it's not going to be implemented. So do you think that the rebel and the government, they accept each other. They come as a joint army in order to protect the country and its people.